What's up, veterans? Today I'm discussing something that is causing serious anxiety within the veteran community. You've probably seen the post, you've probably heard the rumors. VA reducing ratings, they're taking benefits away, they're reviewing old claims, everybody's getting reevaluated. So let me slow this down and let me be honest with you. Today we're going to dive deep into the law, not opinions. This channel is not here for fear, but actual regulations under Title 38 of the Code of Federal Regulations. Because once you understand how the system actually works, then your fear can start to fade. Okay. So let me just start here. Don't stay glued to social media. People are freaking out. I've heard a couple people this week. And let me just make something clear. If you filed a claim, as long as it's not fraudulent and by fraudulent, what do we mean by fraudulent? By fraudulent is saying that something is actually happening that is not happening. Okay. You're saying that you can't do something, or you're saying that you have a purple heart, or you're manipulating a DBQ. You're whipping up your own DBQ, you're whipping up your own Nexus letter. Those could be fraudulent. Okay. You walking into a compensation and pension exam and you have a, you know, 60 Beck depression score, but yet 3 months ago you went into your VA doctor and you told your doctor that everything was fine. You aren't having suicidal ideation, no depression. Then you get an outside medical opinion from a doctor who didn't even review your records and whipped up a DBQ. There's a problem in that. Can you see that? There is a problem. If you got reviewed for that, yes, you could have to go back for a reexamination, right? To see how bad your stuff is, to see how bad whatever it is, your mental health, whatever condition you filed for is. So you need to stay getting treatment, okay? And then you have no fear of reduction, okay? If what you're claiming and the ratings that you have are in alignment with what you have going on, then there should be no fear of reduction for your VA claim. If you used a shady company out there, okay, I'm telling you, there's a lot of them. If you used somebody out there who just, I don't know, whatever, whipped up a DBQ or a Nexus letter and um, didn't even take a look at your medical records and all that stuff, yeah, then you should be worried, um, for sure, because they didn't look at anything. They just whipped it up and maybe it went right through. But look, continue to get treatment. I'm not here to put fear into you, but continue to get treatment. Okay. You need to understand how the system actually works. I'm going to go over the 38 Code of Federal Regulations. And when you understand how things work and that you just can't be reduced unless it's a fraudulent or clear and unmistakable error, then your fear can start to fade. So, can the VA just take away your benefits? The short answer, let me get right to it, is no. They can't just take away your VA disability benefits. The VA cannot legally reduce or terminate your benefits without following strict regulatory procedures. The governing regulation for rating reductions is the 38 Code of Federal Regulations 3.105E. Okay. Under this rule, and I'll show it to you here in a second, if the VA proposes to reduce your disability rating, then they must do the following 5 things. Issue a formal proposal to reduce. So, hey, veteran so and so, we are proposing to reduce your PTSD from 70 to 50%. They must provide detailed information and reasoning. Number two, okay, they must do that. So, number one, they must issue a formal proposal and give you 60 days to respond. Number two, they must provide detailed reasoning as to why they're doing that. Number three, they must give you 60 days to submit evidence. Number four, they must give you 30 days to request a hearing. Number five, they must allow due process before finalizing the reduction. They cannot simply flip a switch and take your check. There must be a notice, there must be evidence, there must be an opportunity for you, the veteran, to respond. That is federal law. I am going to share this with you. And thank you, Help for Veterans. Um, um, no, I'm not saying in Help for Veterans, I'm not saying that they're taking away benefits at all. If you're listening here, absolutely, I'm saying that they are going to review all private DBQs. So I'm in no way, shape, or form saying that they are going to take away VA disability benefits. They are not taking away VA disability benefits. So if you heard what I just said, I just let you know that no, that is false. Okay. Not at all. And they have to do due process and diligence if they're going to propose a reduction to someone. So I'm going to go over 38 Code of Federal Regulations 3.105. Give me just a second to share my screen with you. Okay. And here's the revision of decision. Okay. You guys and gals should be seeing my screen. And I'm going to highlight it for you. 3.105 right here, revision of decisions. It says the provisions of the section apply except where an award was based on an act of commission or omission by the payee or with his or her knowledge. There is a change in law or Department of Veteran Affairs issue, or a change in interpretation of law or a Department of Veteran Affairs issue, or the evidence establishes that the service connection was clearly illegal. Okay. The provisions with respect to the date of discontinuance of benefits are applicable to running awards where the award has been suspended and it is determined that no additional payments are in order. The award will be discontinued effective date of last payment. So look, if there's an error in a final decision, okay, if there's a definition of clear and unmistakable error, what is that? I'm going to give that to you. It is a clear and unmistakable error is a very specific and rare kind of error. It is the kind of error of fact or of law that, when called to the attention of later reviewers, compels the conclusion to which reasonable minds could not differ that the result would have been manifestly different but for the error. If it is not absolutely clear that a different result would have ensued, the error complained of cannot be clear and unmistakable. Generally, either the correct facts as they were known at the time were not before VA, or the statutory and regulatory provisions extant at the time were incorrectly applied. Okay. So your record must be reviewed. Okay. If there's a change in interpretation, clear and unmistakable error does not include the otherwise correct application of a statute or regulation where, subsequent to the decision being challenged, there's been a change in the interpretation of the statute or regulation. Okay. So look, if there is no error, and like Help for Veterans is saying here as well too, exactly, they will only flag certain DBQs with same language. Thank you. That is very, very true. And that's why I'm saying, if you guys and gals, have a DBQ or a nexus letter, and look, the evidence don't match up, or you got it and it's fraudulent or something, if they reviewed it, then hey, there could be a reduction or a proposal or a re-examination. Okay. But the VA is not just taking things away. And Help for Veterans, that's very right. They are looking at DBQ mill users, honestly, because like you, 100% PNT, they looked at my claim like 3 times when rating it. Exactly. Help for Veterans, that's good information. So I just want to be very, very clear. The VA is not taking away benefits. I'm just responding here on this live stream because that's not what this is about. We want to shut those rumors down because that's not happening. Okay. Now, if you file a claim, okay, let's say you do something secondary to your mental health, you could get a review for your mental health if they feel like it got better, depending on the rater that it goes to. So make sure you're staying up to date on your treatment, friends, brothers, sisters. Stay up to date on your treatment. Don't sell yourself short. Don't minimize on anything. If you guys need help, reach out. And absolutely, DBQ mill users, huge. People just running people through, hundreds of people, not checking any kind of facts, not checking any of that junk, and just throwing claims up, and whatever. If that stuff is happening out there, then hey, if the shoe fits, wear it. Okay. Is VES CMP considered private? VES is a party contracted company, JL, and they are contracted by the VA to do a CMP exam on you for whatever condition that you're filing for. Okay. So they're not there for treatment. They're there just to do the disability benefits questionnaire for you. So they are not really considered private. They are a third party company, just so you know. And a CMP exam is just a standard process of the VA disability claims process. Help for Veterans is also the thing. They rated me based on my DBQ and medical opinion and evidence I sent in. They didn't make me go to exam, so my DBQ must have been sufficient. Exactly. Thank you. If your evidence is sufficient and it lines up with the DBQ and the nexus and everything, then it makes sense. Nobody should be writing you a nexus or a disability benefits questionnaire if the treatment doesn't line up. If they aren't looking at your records, if they aren't looking and researching everything and just throwing up a letter, then I would be concerned. Okay. And exactly, Frank, you got to request your military records for free. Get them. You should know. Stay up to date on your VA records or your private records with your primary care doctors and team. Stay up to date on your conditions. You guys are your best advocates. Okay. They are using a lot of artificial intelligence as well. And they are going back with CMP exams. And guess what they're looking at? Your compensation and pension exam. Or not your during your compensation and pension exam, they are looking at your treatment. Okay. They have an AI system that scans and looks if you've been treated. Okay. And it helps. The compensation and pension examiners can put in, there's a system that the VA uses to scan your VA medical evidence to see if it's in alignment with whatever you're claiming or how severe you're saying your condition is, especially like mental health or migraine headaches or chronic fatigue or sleep apnea, etc. Okay. So very, very important to understand that just get treatment. Don't sell yourself short. Get treatment. Don't sell yourself short. Stay on top of your stuff. The VA is paying us for conditions that were caused by service and that are impacting our life. Okay. And you need to let them know how you're impacted occupationally and socially. Okay. Very, very, very important that you guys and gals understand all of that. So look, there's no enacted cuts to VA benefits in 2026. There's always talk and speculation, just like last year. Hey, is tinnitus gone? Did the sleep apnea changes happen? Did the mental health, or are we still under the old criteria or the proposed? Nothing changed, but we talked about it all 2025, okay? Pay attention to the law. Pay attention to the 38 Code of Federal Regulations, okay? Very important. VA benefits cuts are very highly unlikely, okay? Just so you understand, the biggest cut risks always come from the CBO budget options, okay? Not laws. The CBO, the Congressional Budget Office, is not law, okay? So they propose things like means testing and 30% minimum rating thresholds, age-based reductions, and ending TDIU at age 67. But that is not law. That is not facts, okay? The VA has proposed changes, but they're not in law to how certain conditions are rated. Sleep apnea, tinnitus, mental health. These are proposed, right? These are proposed changes that could happen in the future, but nothing's happened yet. File your claim. Get your treatment. Get your claim in, okay? If you are already rated, then there are meaningful protections to your VA disability claims and due process rules before VA can just go ahead and reduce your rating. So as of February 2026, right now, there have been no enacted cuts to VA benefits. All you're hearing is chatter, talk, and speculation at this point. And I want to be very, very clear about that. Okay. When can the VA reduce a rating? Okay. This is where nuance matters. VA can reduce a rating if there's medical evidence of sustained improvement, but they're not going in just to let me go find this guy or gal or this veteran just to reduce him. This is like when you're filing a claim and you're trying to, let's say, go up to 100, or you're trying to secondary something. They could take a look at the primary condition that you're trying to secondary off of. Some veterans lately with TDIU, temporary disability, individual unemployability, have been made, have been asked to come in for re-examinations. That's why you got to stay up on your medical records. Okay. So the VA can reduce if there's a medical evidence of sustained improvement. But how can there be medical evidence of sustained improvement if you continue to go and get the care that you need? Are y'all picking up what I'm putting down? The improvement reflects improved ability to function under ordinary conditions of life and work. So like if you're significantly showing that life and work that you're just crushing it and it's way better and just significant improvement, again, they're not just going to go poke around at everything. It's when you're filing claims and stuff like that. I've seen veterans at 100 and then they file for like an ED claim or special monthly compensation, and then they get a re-examination. It comes back to kind of bite them. And then if you've been sleeping and not getting care for the past 5 years, then hey, anything could happen. Okay. If the exam used for reduction is as thorough as the exam that granted the rating, okay, then look, keep getting care, keep getting treatment, okay? Just want you to understand that. Listen, you have protections in place. The 5-year rule. What does that mean? Stabilized ratings. If your rating has been in place for 5 years or more, it's considered stabilized veterans under the 38 Code of Federal Regulations 3.344. The VA cannot reduce a stabilized rating based on a single examination showing temporary improvement. Listen, guys, gals, they must show sustained improvement under normal life conditions, not just a temporary flare up or flare down or fluctuation. Okay. There is, in the 5-year rule is a major protection most veterans don't even know exists. And you have the 10-year rule too. After 10 years, the VA cannot sever service connection unless they prove fraud. And this comes from 38 Code of Federal Regulations 3.957. So if you've been service connected for more than 10 years, they cannot just decide you're no longer service connected. That is powerful for you veterans. And then you have the 20-year rule. After 20 years, your rating cannot be reduced below the level it has held for 20 years, except in cases of fraud. That's under 38 Code of Federal Regulations 3.951 Bravo. If you've been 50% for 20 years, they cannot reduce you to 30%. That percentage becomes locked in, okay? Permanent in total. If you are rated right now permanent in total, the VA has determined that your condition is not expected to improve. So why are they going to go poking around at that? Okay. Unless you file a claim. Okay. I'm telling you, I've seen veterans file who've been permanent in total they want to get that extra $150 for I'm whatever the special monthly compensation is, let's call it ED. And then they get a proposal for a re-examination. Okay. And then they're going into a re-exam. Okay. They just shouldn't have poked the bear or open up that can of worms. Okay. Look, routine future exams are typically not scheduled. Okay. RFEs are typically not scheduled. However, P&T does not mean untouchable. And again, I just gave you a scenario where it's not untouchable. If VA discovers a clear and unmistakable error, fraud, okay, which I don't think that's any of you guys and gals, or overwhelming contradictory evidence, they can review. However, this is rare. So what about the Q errors? What does that stand for? Q stands for clear and unmistakable error. Under 38 Code of Federal Regulations 3.105 alpha, the VA can revise a past decision if there was an obvious legal or factual error. Veterans, okay? So let me give you an example. If there was a veteran that was granted 100% when medical evidence clearly only supported 30%, and the rating schedule was misapplied, then the VA can correct that. But a Q error, clear and unmistakable error, is not a difference of opinion. It's not a disagreement. It's not a minor error. It must be undebatable. This is not happening in mass. Okay. So, why are some veterans getting re-exams? There are a few reasons. A condition was expected to improve. They looked through your medical records and, hey, it looks a lot better. Okay. If a veteran filed for an increase, which reopens an evaluation. Okay. And then they look at this condition and they look around at a couple more. Maybe you have a high TBI rating and they think it's going to improve, then they could propose reduction. Okay. If they feel like it's improved, they could send you for a re-examination. They're notorious for it. And then you go from that 40% maybe down to a 10%. Okay. Why are some veterans getting re-exams? If the VA is implementing regulatory updates, PACT Act expansions, triggered reviews, or the rating was not static. But a re-exam does not automatically mean reduction. So sometimes it leads to increase, additional secondary conditionings, TDIU eligibility, SMC consideration. Okay. So is this about budget cuts? No. VA disability compensation is mandatory federal spending. Who authorizes it? Congress authorizes it. It's not a discretionary line item that the VA can just slash internally, if you will. Reductions must follow regulatory procedures. So what should you do if you're listening? If you receive a proposed reduction letter, which I hope it's not any of us, okay, a re-examination notice or a confusing rating decision, do this. Read the 38 Code of Federal Regulations. Read the CFR cited. You can find it. Check how long your rating has been in place. Determine if the 5-year, 10-year, or 20-year rule apply to your situation. Respond with any deadlines, okay? And consider representation if you need it. Don't panic. Don't ignore it. Do not post fear online. Understand the law. And listen, the real danger is not VA secretly reducing everyone. Let me be clear about that. The real danger is veterans, us not knowing and being educated, not knowing our protections. The real danger is veterans missing response deadlines. The real danger is veterans just rolling on and never getting any treatment for those conditions, okay, for years, okay? You know, if I'm asking you, do you have a primary care doctor? And you're like, no, you know, maybe you should think about getting one, okay? At least go in once a year to the VA and get your labs done and get checked up with your primary care provider, with your PCM, okay, or PCP, okay. Look, the real danger is veterans filing increases without understanding reevaluation risk. If you're going to file an increase, make sure everything else is up to snuff. Make sure that you're complaining. Make sure everything is in your medical records, honestly, integrally, ethically, okay? The real danger is veterans assuming permanent means untouchable. Well, I'm untouchable. I'm going to file for this whatever extra condition because I feel like I'm going to get a little bit more. Well, again, if you're caught slipping and you ain't got no treatment and it looks better, well, just because you're permanent doesn't mean that you're untouchable, okay? But look, permanent and total, don't mess with it. Just keep your ratings, keep on in life, stay up to date, stay getting treatment. Don't sell yourself short. Don't minimize about anything, okay? Listen, knowledge and education removes fear, okay? So is the VA taking away benefits? No. VA is administering claims under federal law. Yes, ratings can be reviewed. Yes, reductions could occur if there's reason. But again, there's a whole due process, okay? But I don't say that to be fearful, okay? But they could occur, but don't panic. Yes, corrections can happen, okay? Yes, there are probably some Q errors out there and things of that sort, but stay on top of your treatment. Stay on top of you are your best advocate. You are your best advocate for your evidence as well too, okay? But listen, there are safeguards, 5, 10, 20-year rules, permanent and total, okay? Disability. There are protections. There are timelines. There's help, and you have rights. Okay. If you receive a letter and you're unsure what it means, don't guess. Break it down. And if you want us to analyze it right on this channel, let me know. Send it in. Let me know what you got going on. Okay. We want to make sure that you understand that and do not be in fear. A lot of things are, like I said, have been proposed, but they're not law. Sleep apnea, tinnitus, mental health. All year we complained about it in 2025, and people were freaked out about these things and all this is going to happen and when's this going to happen, and it's just putting a lot of fear. Just take a breath. No VA benefits are not being cut. Okay, just stay on top of everything. Be proactive, not reactive. Current law right now, sleep apnea is still diagnostic code 6847. Tinnitus is still standalone. Recurrent tinnitus is diagnostic code 6260. Mental health, current evaluations use the general rating formula for mental disorders. 38 Code of Federal Regulations 4.130. Proposed rating changes are not the same as enacted benefit cuts. They're not law. But if finalized, they could reduce future awards for certain conditions by changing how the VA rates them. But if you already have your conditions in your ratings, you should be grandfathered in, okay? Just so you guys know. If you're currently receiving VA disability compensation, understand this. Across the board, cuts don't happen quickly. They require legislation and typically massive political blowback. Many proposals target future claimants or use future effective dates. That's why when you file and your effective date can matter, okay? And remember, guys, gals, brothers, sisters in arms, VA must follow due process before reducing an individual rating, okay? So here it is. Reductions are not supposed to be arbitrary or instantaneous. If you're thinking about filing or increasing your rating, this is why timing matters. If you know you ain't getting treatment and you're listening to this, act with urgency, get the treatment and things that you need, okay? So what do you need to do now? Don't be fearful. Get educated. Stay anchored to official sources. Don't wait if you have a strong claim. Many proposals target new recipients or future effective dates. Build a bulletproof evidence file. You have nothing to worry about. Dude, if you did file a private DBQ or something or Nexus and all your medical evidence lines up, you have nothing to worry about, okay? Build a bulletproof evidence file. Current diagnosis plus service connection plus severity documentation wins claims every time. Track the proposals that matter. Means testing, 30% thresholds, age 67 reductions, TDIU changes, and rating schedule updates. So no enacted cuts to VA disability compensation checks have occurred in 2026. And again, in fact, the VA published new 2026 compensation rates with a 2.8% COLA, which went in effect December 1st, 2025. But pay attention to the proposals that keep resurfacing. Don't stress yourself out and lose sleep, okay? But pay attention, stay educated, stay informed, stay in the know, okay? Like, subscribe, comment, hit that notification bell, share this out with someone that can use this information as well. I'm not here to put fear in you. I'm just here to tell you that no, VA benefits are not being cut. Stay on top of your treatment, stay getting the help, stay getting the care that you need. Stay knowledgeable, stay educated. Guys, gals, you deserve the benefits that you get, okay? You are your best advocate, best advice. Exactly, Savage. If your problems are real, you shouldn't have a problem. There's nothing to fear, okay? Just want you to understand. And Bridget, you're saying your uncle is 6 years old. I hope he's safe. Get care. Stay on top of what you need to. It does not matter about how old anybody is, okay? And Farm Girl, what's up? How you doing? Love you to death. Heck yeah, go back and listen. And listen, you are don't worry about these things. Don't worry about these things. Yeah, and I'm going to call you on Monday too and talk you off the ledge as well too. So you guys are good, okay? Stay on top of it. If you guys do need anything, reach out. We are here. I just want you to know that. And Frank, you're right. Go get seen, okay? Go get seen. Help for Veterans says, so if the VA going to run all private DBQs through AI, I heard it was like 1.1 million. Well, they can run. It's not so much that they're going to run the DBQs just through AI. Look, they do a check, okay, on they just want to make sure that medical evidence is lining up with what DBQs are saying as well, okay? But if your medical evidence lines up, if your treatment lines up, then you're good. You shouldn't have anything to worry about. Okay. And again, I don't know that that's factual, that it's 1.1 million or anything like that, but the VA is implementing AI. But look, it's not to propose reduction on anyone. It's it's more so to get more claims in, to get claims done quicker and efficiently. That's kind of a catch 22 and jaded question. I don't know that it's exactly all happening that way because there's a lot of mistakes, but there's a lot of quick claims going through as well too. But um, just stay on top of everything. If you're going to a CMP exam, bring all your evidence with you. That's key. And make sure before you file a claim that all your evidence is up to date and that you are squared away. Okay. Um, Help for Veterans says, I don't want them to cut my benefits while they are snooping around. Can they suspend payment right away? No, they cannot suspend payment right away at all. And they're not just going to cut your benefits and just be snooping around. Okay. Stay on top of your treatment, stay on top of everything that you guys and gals need to. Hey, thank y'all for tuning in. We care about you. We love you. You guys, thank you all for your service. I appreciate you guys. I'm a veteran serving veterans. And I want you to know that, hey, dude, just stay tuned, be on top of things, and you guys matter. Okay. If you need anything, reach out. We are here. We are a very safe place to go. Some of you veterans have reached out, right? The doctors and everything like that, they are very, very good. They have nothing to do with us at all. They're separate. Everything that we do is just, we want to make sure that your evidence and everything, that you are clearly educated on the evidence that you need, the who, the what, the when, the where, the why, and whatever you're trying to navigate. Okay. Don't fight this fight alone. Okay. Go to your local VSO, get the help that you need. Okay. Whatever that help is with you, get that help. Okay. Get that help. You guys deserve it. Get the benefits that you deserve. Thanks, guys, for tuning in, and appreciate you guys. Love you guys. Care about you guys. I will be back tomorrow. Till next time, I'm out. Peace.